All right, everyone. So you can see it's a little cold in my shop. We had a heck of a storm come through. It was kind of funny. It's kind of hit the valley pretty hard, but as soon as you hit the pavement down from my road, which is from my house, which is about 3 miles, it totally cleared up. Like the Helena got no snow, very little. We got not a bunch, but like it drifted in front of my doors, probably on my shop, probably like 3 foot, because it blows so hard out here. We get a bunch of drifts and stuff. I had a buddy drop off. Hopefully you can see it behind me. This bad boy. This thing's super cool. I'm a little bit in awe. I actually really want one of these right now. They're freaking cool. Makes my side-by-side look like a golf cart. So it is a buddy of mine. I've known this guy for a long time. We used to go to the dunes together every year and ride four-wheelers. He bought a couple side-by-sides, ended up getting with this one. He got some plexiglass, and he has a little bit of an issue with this thing. Not really, excuse me, not the machine. So he's put a stereo in here, so he's got these speakers. There's not a whole lot of aftermarket speaker stuff for this. From what he tells me, he works at our local like cycle shop here, but he put those speakers in, and then he's got some little pods down in the floorboard here. But he says he doesn't like it because there's no bass. It's just like all treble. So I'm really excited about this actually. This is a pretty cool job. So that 10-inch Rockford Fosgate sub is gonna mount to the bottom of his seat. It's gonna be upside down, so that base is gonna go down. I just have it sitting here. I was trying to take some measurements and stuff. The cool thing about this is, let's see if I can figure out how this works. Maybe I gotta turn the key on. It's not my machine, so I don't know. He's got all these like red LEDs underneath this thing, so it's got like underglow. Like I said, it's got a full stereo in it, which I didn't mean to turn on. But anyway, so he's got all that underglow. What we're gonna do, he brought me some like polyurethane, plexi, whatever you want to call it. I'm not 100% sure what it is. But I'm gonna make a full plexiglass box on my router that mounts that 10-inch sub. Right now it's sitting the wrong way. It's gonna face down, and it's gonna mount to the bottom. This is the seat that comes in this thing. So I'm gonna make a full plexiglass box. We're gonna riv nut. I don't have a riv nutter. It's in my my cart to buy. I haven't got one yet, but he does have one at his work. So he's gonna drill a couple holes, put riv nuts in here for me, so I can mount the speaker box to the bottom of this seat. It's gonna overhang the seat, ooh, let's see, this way. So essentially that is gonna be hanging out this way. So the seat comes to about here. So right here, I'm gonna essentially V-carve in the ArcticCat logo in this thing, and he's gonna backlight this thing with red LEDs. So this whole thing glows, and it'll say ArcticCat right here. You'll be able to see the ArcticCat logo. The seat will sit here, the sub will face down, and he's gonna mount this thing in here. It's gonna be a little tricky. This thing, let me flip the seat over so you guys can kind of see. There's a pretty good angle on this thing. The seat sits, let me see if I can set you up here. Sits about like that. So there's not a ton of space here, but the box is gonna come towards the camera here. It's gonna overhang the ArcticCat logo. You'll be able to see it this way. But there is a little bit of an angle here. So it's about an inch drop when the seat's actually in the side-by-side. So I got to cut this angle on my router. It's going to be interesting. I got a majority of this, not a majority of it, part of it actually like programmed in my router. it's going to be a little difficult when I get to the top, because essentially where it sits on the base here will be flat. This speaker will be upside down facing down. This will be at an angle. So if you're thinking about it, when this piece comes up and meets the side, it's got to be longer on the top thickness of that. It's like 1/2 inch plexi. Let me run you up to the shop and I'll show you. It's it's gonna be a little different. I'm gonna probably have to make a jig. I'm thinking it's like 10, maybe 15 degrees. Then I'm gonna have to cut both sides of this so it'll look like a parallelogram. It might not make a whole lot of sense right now, but once I cut it and I show you, you guys, you'll understand. So this is the stuff he brought me. It's like 1/2 inch. He brought all this. He had it at his house. Essentially what's gonna happen, let me see if my computer's still up. I kind of started programming it. Come on. There we go. So this is where the sub's gonna sit. It's got to sit offset because there's a roll or part of the roll bar that goes about right here. Hopefully you guys can see my mouse. Yeah, there's a roll bar that goes like right here. This is where the sub will sit. It'll face down. So this is the bottom of the box. This will be the side over here. And then you can see there's an angle on these two pieces. It's an inch drop from here to here. So when you set this piece vertically on top of here to be the side of the box, this top piece has got to be longer because there'll be an angle here and an angle over here. I'm hoping I'm kind of explaining that good enough. I will definitely show you guys when I cut this thing, because I'm gonna have to make a jig. I'm gonna have to hand cut this because on this side and here, because my router is only 3-axis, it won't do a 5-axis cut. So I'm gonna have to make a jig and I'm gonna have to hand cut both these tops. It's gonna be cool though. So this is only part of the box. I need to make another side for over here, this same length, but it'll be 1 inch shorter. No, I'm sorry. This is a long side. It'll be 1 inch. Wait. No, I'm trying to, I'll have to look that up, see what I actually did this at. So that's 4 inches. So this is a long side, sorry. I still got to do the short side. It'll be 3 inches. So there's 1 inch drop. This speaker needs about 3 and some change for the magnet to clear the box. It's good. Like I said, this is going to be really tight. This is actually a little less cubic feet than this speaker actually needs, but it's the room he has, and he said just make it. So that's what I'm going to do. These sides, like I said, they do have a taper. This camera, I swear. Anyways, so I got to still draw up the other side, the shorter side, which will actually be on this side because this is a long side over here. There'll be a short side here. This is one side, that's the other side. I still got to do the top. The top is where it's going to get difficult because I do got to cut a couple angles on it. So, and I got to do them by hand. So what I'm going to probably do is I'm going to use this flush cut router. And essentially what I'm going to do is, so if you look at this is 1/2 inch also. So I'm going to use this bottom edge to run against my bearing here. And I'm going to make a jig so I can tilt this. Sorry, this is going to be a little rough. I'm trying to get you the best angle I can to explain it. So I'm going to tilt this way. This bottom edge all the way at the base will run on my bearing. The top of that router bit should cut my angle. Like I said, I'm going to have to build some kind of jig. It's not going to be much. I'm thinking like maybe 10 degrees. It's not going to be a lot, but it definitely has to be there so that this, when you put this top on here, the corner of the box will be there. This will be overhanging, and I don't want that. I want it to be a square corner. So I'm going to have to just nip off just the corner. Same thing on the other side. It'll be the opposite direction. It's got to go this way. So when I cut this top piece, I'm going to have to compensate, knowing that I'm going to have to cut this and this essentially at a parallelogram. So it'll be this angle, and then I'm gonna add the material over there, essentially is what's gonna happen. The top piece is gonna be a little tricky. I'm gonna build everything else. I'm gonna build it, I got a bunch of this 1/2 inch MDF. I'm gonna build the whole thing out of that first. Make sure everything works. Build the top, make sure that fits, make sure it mounts to the seat. Then I'll cut it out of this, because literally I have this one piece and that piece there. It does give me a little bit of extra, but if I do mess something up, I'm gonna have to buy him another piece, and I don't want to do that because I can't imagine what that is going for right now with everything the way it is. So that's where we're at. I'm pretty excited about this. It's gonna be pretty cool. I've never built anything remotely close to this, so it should look pretty cool when it's in there, and that the rock lights are glowing on that thing and that speaker box is glowing. Like I said, they don't make any kind of speaker boxes for these Wildcats. It's a Wildcat XX or XX, whatever you want to call it. I'm hoping it'll kind of turn into something where other people want them. The only other speaker boxes they make is for the inside of those doors, and they're like super, super expensive. So not a lot of people are buying them. It sounds like once I get this all kind of programmed out on my router, I should be able to knock them out pretty good. It'll just mainly be the price of the Plexi or whatever, the Polycarbonate, whatever they call it. I'm not even sure what it's called. I'm not even going to show you a sticker because I'm not sure where he got it from. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm going to show you guys step by step. I don't know how far he wants me to take it. Originally, he kind of said he wanted me to just kind of cut those pieces out and he would screw it all together. Then he was kind of like, well, you do what you want. Take it as far as you want. And I was like, well, okay, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to probably drill and tap all the holes, screw it together so he has a final product, and then he can unscrew it, mount it to the seat, put the lights in it. And then hopefully once he gets the lights in it, I'll get some more videos like at night so you can see the ArcticCat logo kind of glow, because it should, once he puts the LED in it and I V-carved it, it should kind of frost that, so it should really pop. But I'll show you that when we get that far. I gotta finish laying it out, because as you can see, those are my, sorry, that back grid is actually how big one of the pieces is. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces out of it, and I need 2 more. Like I said, he brought me 2 pieces, so it's going to be close. I literally cannot mess this up. It's got to be right the first time. So that's one piece. There's actually a coating on this. I don't know if a lot of people may not know this, but there's a coating on it. It's just to protect the plastic. All that'll come off, and this will be totally see-through. So when he backlights this thing, it's gonna just glow like crazy. There's one there. So this will be what you just saw on the computer. That'll be the first piece, and then I'll cut I guess it'll be the top of the box out of that, and one other side out of that second piece back there. So it's gonna be cool. I'm pretty excited about this. Something I've never done, so we'll see how it goes. I gotta figure out some feeds and speeds for my router to make sure that this cuts okay and I don't melt it or, you know, burn the plastic. But I think it'll go all right. I mean, it's pretty close to the same kind of density as what I'm doing for my hot tub tables, so it should be good. And I'm really cold, so I'm gonna go in the house. I'll make sure I get all these in there and a final product once he gets all the LEDs and everything in it and the speaker working. It's gonna be cool. All right, everybody. It is Thursday night. I don't know, it's like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I'm back on this side-by-side. I've been programming this thing. I pretty much got all the pieces programmed except for the very top piece, because like I said, it's like a parallelogram. It's got some angles on it. So I'm gonna build this entire box out of like MDF, screw it all together, make sure it fits, and then I gotta figure out that top, because I'm gonna have to overhang each side of the top, just so I can kind of get that angle on it. But this is what I got so far. Like I said, I'm making this whole thing out of wood first before I even touch that plexi, because I do not want to mess the plexi up. Can't imagine it's very cheap. So this is the bottom, obviously. I got the speaker mounted in here. Just use a couple wood screws. This is gonna be super tight. See if I can get this thing flipped over where it's supposed to be. All right, so this is about where this thing's gonna sit, roughly. Oh, this camera. Okay. So it's gonna sit about right there. As you can see, the speaker's facing down. I got some paper down here so I don't ruin it. So I got one side made here. The top of this box is tapered. As you can see, this is really tight right here. This side is actually an inch lower. We're gonna see if it's gonna clear over here. I might have to do something. I might actually, on this top piece, have to cut out this circle so it sits in here. It's just really tight. He realizes it. This is gonna be iffy to get this in here and look perfect. Just because it is such a small space and that magnet might touch the top of this box. We'll see as we get going here. Like I said, the other side is an inch lower. This one's 3, this one's 4, then it has a piece of 1/2 inch on the top. That ArcticCat logo. Just in the name, it's not going to be the actual cat, because I think there's some copyright infringements or something there. So to just say ArcticCat, just in text, that'll backlight. All this will be plexi, like I said. I just don't want to cut the plexi until I know this is going to work. MDF, it's not exactly cheap either right now, but it's a heck of a lot cheaper than trying to buy him a new piece of plexi. So that's kind of where I'm at. You can see this thing is pretty much side to side in here. These side pieces that are going to go here, like I said, they're going to have a little bit of an angle. So I'm going to go get those cut right now. I'm going to try to screw this box together. I just wanted to make sure that this speaker was going to fit in my circle that I cut out, and that it was going to fit in this space. It looks like it's gonna now. So we'll get the rest of this cut out. I'll get it all screwed together, set it in here, and make sure that everything's going to be hunky-dory. And I'll show you when I start cutting the plexi. I'm a little nervous. I kind of took my shears on the edge of the plexi and kind of tried to just nip at it to see if it was fragile, if it was going to chip real easy. Looks like it's a little more pliable than I originally thought, so I think it should cut really easy on my router. It should cut about like my HDP foam that I use on my other stuff, my tables, my cut boards. So we'll see how it goes. I'll try to get some video of it cutting. I definitely want to get the ArcticCat logo going because I want to see that thing backlit. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So we're back on the speaker box. Me and my wife had to run to town today, go buy some stuff. It's her birthday actually, and I'm out in the shop working. I kind of feel like a jerk, but I gotta get this done. I have another guy coming up this weekend for something else. It's a Bronco. I'm putting some shocks in, building the new mounts for the shocks, I guess. So I had to get this done. I did buy her what she wanted. She wanted this new rug, and then I made her this heart thing out of wood. Actually, I got it right here. I think I got a whole video on this, I believe. That's it. It's like multiple layers. It's not all the way done. I told her when I started building it, like her birthday was coming up, and I'm like, dude, I'm just not gonna have it done, babe. But this is what it is. It kind of got her name. And it says, "Your love holds us together." Then it's each one of me and the 3 kids in layers as she met us. And as she has grandkids, I can add to it. So I got to finish it. I got to stain it and stuff. I showed her this morning. She about started crying. So it was pretty good. But I also bought her this rug she wanted for her house. So she's super happy. She let me come out here. So I had to refigure this last night. I did build that guy last night. I honestly, I messed up. I took a bunch of measurements on this thing, and I think I got confused. I forgot to compensate for the lid. It was too big. Like, this fits in there, and it is tight. Like, it's really tight. So I did downsize the sides so I could get the top on, and I gave myself a little wiggle room, so this thing can bolt up to the bottom of his seat. I gotta admit, I'm a little nervous to cut this plexi. So I went and bought a whole nother sheet of this. I laid all this out again last night. I pretty much started all over. I deleted everything. I just started over. I was frustrated because this one didn't work. So after I get this all done together, I'm probably going to smash this thing just to make me feel better. It should be pretty fun. Take out some aggression. You know, you mess up, it's just good to destroy it, I guess. I don't know. It'll make me feel better. But I did relay this all out. Hopefully this one's right. I had to shorten a lot of stuff. So if you can... Sorry, I had to make sure my camera's still working. That's the bottom. Speakers going there. This is the long side. These are the two end pieces that go here. As you can see, they have a taper on this edge. That matches the bottom of the seat line. This is the short side that goes here. That's the long side that goes here. And then I have a whole nother program. So I cut this board exactly to this plexi. That one. So that's the big piece. That's the small piece. This big piece is what I'm cutting right now. I tried to get as much as I could out of here. I'm trying not to waste any of this because I really only get one shot at this. So yeah, it does make me a little nervous. That's why I'd rather spend money on the wood, screw up the wood, instead of the plexi. It just makes me a little nervous. It should be fine though. Like I said, it's just one of them things. But I did got to show you this. I had this clamp right here. In the simulation, I thought I had it in the right spot. I did not. You can see I smoked my clamp. The good thing, these clamps are plastic. It cut right through it like it wasn't even there. So I'm guessing that's why Shapeoko makes them plastic. They know they're getting a lot of like beginners, people that are just getting into CNC. It just goes to show you, I have like 20 years of experience in this, and I still screw up. I got that clamp. But like I said, it's just plastic. And I got more of this black, white, black little scraps that I have left over down there. I'll build a couple more of these clamps. It's not a huge deal. But it is good. I'd rather destroy this clamp than smoke my end mill that's like 30 bucks. So yeah, so we're gonna get this out. I'm gonna router all this out, and I'm gonna just finish nail this thing together and stick it in that side by side and make sure that I have the clearances I need. I do have another program that cuts this same shape, but it has the ArcticCat logo right here. I'm contemplating on, I'm not a huge fan of the way the ArcticCat logo looks right now in the simulation. Maybe it'll look different in here. It looks different in my hot tub tables. It's the same, it's a little bit different font, but it's still V-carves the same way. So we'll see. I'm gonna cut it in this wood, see if I like it or not. I did buy a full sheet of this, a 4x8 sheet. I use this all the time for testing my programs and stuff. If it's, especially when it's something like this where I'm like, I have one shot at it. When I designed my hot tub tables, I probably cut 3 or 4 of them, just making sure I had everything right before I was going to start cutting into that, because that stuff's pretty expensive too. It's like $100 a sheet, pretty close. So that's like a 2x4 sheet. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I'm going to get these out, knock all my tabs out, finish nail it together, just to make sure it fits in the box. I did buy some 1/4-20 screws today, so I'm gonna have to drill and tap and bolt this thing together. I got some, it's like for campers, and essentially you put it in between your joints, so you'd put it like right there, then your piece would go on top, and it seals this plexiglass when it's a speaker box. It's almost like, it's for campers. It's like it's not really like this stuff here where it's like a foam. It's more like a sealant almost. I don't even know what it's called. I'll show you the box later when I go to cut it up and kind of put this thing together. I did buy some 1/4-20 screws. He was talking about wanting stainless steel. I priced stainless steel. Holy cow, it is expensive. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna probably talk to him. He's a pretty good buddy of mine, so I'll talk to him. I'm gonna put a couple of these screw holes in just so I can bolt this thing together, and probably use that putty kind of stuff that I got to seal it up, and then ask him, be like, dude, do you really want to spend the money on the stainless? Because like for a box, it was like $54 or something here in Helena. I was like, that's too steep for me. I wouldn't pay it. I'd go with the normal screws, and if they start rusting, I'd replace them, because they were only like, I bought 30 of them and they were like 12 bucks. I don't even think it was 12 bucks actually. It was way cheaper. It was just, to me, for putting this thing together, because he was going to want to do part of the work if I cut the pieces, but I kind of need to put it together to make sure it fits in the side-by-side. So that's what we're going to do. Like I said, he's a good buddy, so we'll figure it out. Yeah, I'll show you when I get that far. But I'll get these pieces out, get it nailed together. I do got to check for when I put the speaker in here for clearance, because these are way smaller, my side pieces. This one, when I built it, so this is a 1/2 inch taller. It was close. The one thing I did do, so this is 1 inch from here to here. This is a lot bigger than 1 inch, so I moved it further this way because this is a lot taller on this side than it is over here. So I'm hoping by moving it that way, the magnet will clear this top. It should, from the measurements I took super late last night when I was really tired. So we'll see how that goes. It was pretty late. I was a little frustrated. I just wanted to get this thing done. I want to see it glowing like super bad. I'm pretty excited for that part. So, but like I said, he's going to do a lot of that. He's going to backlight it. He's going to, he'll probably mount the speaker too. I just want to make sure that it clears the speaker and everything. And then he'll bolt it to the seat. He's going to rib nut the bottom of the seat. I almost bought a rib nutter today so I could do it, but I passed on it because he wanted to do it. So, but I'm gonna have to do a little bit of work, screw this thing together just to make sure it fits for him. The only other concern I have, I'm gonna make this out of wood. The whole thing, all this will look similar to that. And then I'm gonna call him because it's a little less cubic feet than this speaker actually needs. I think he's pretty aware of that. When he dropped it off, he's like, it's close. I kind of calculated it out. I think it's a little more under than he thinks. But it's the room that he has. If he wants to change it, I might be able to go off of this side. There is a little pocket right here. I could extend this box this way to get him a little more cubes. But we'll see. I think it'll be all right. And I think he's pretty aware of that it's a little small. But we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't distort the speaker. I'm not a huge stereo guy, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm kind of leery, but like super excited at the same time because this thing is gonna be cool once it's all lit, and you'll see the ArcticCat logo kind of glowing right there, or the ArcticCat text. All right, guys. I'm back at this. I'm trying to make the top part of this box. I'm starting to learn some stuff about my machine that I don't know. In my world of CNC is different than what this router actually does. So I'm still kind of learning. It's kind of the thing when it comes to machining. You're constantly learning something. I'm trying to carve this ArcticCat logo into this, essentially the top part of this box. I'm struggling a little bit. I V-carved on my hot tub tables. I V-carved our Clawworks logo in, and it looks pretty good. I'm going to show you this. I've done this 3 different ways now. The first way is how I do it on my tables, and it looks fine because the print is pretty small. When you start getting bigger, it's not real great. In my eyes, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'll show you what's going on here. So hopefully you guys can see that this one right here is how I carve my logo into my hot tub tables. All right, I'm back to the cord again on my GoPro. Imagine that. I am strongly becoming a not fan of GoPro. Anyways, past my rant now that I'm onto this. Anyways, sorry guys, it just really irritates me. So I've been practicing cutting some ArcticCat logos here. This one here, that is exactly how I carve my hot tub tables. On the smaller print, it looks fine. This is 1.5 inches. I absolutely hate it, especially with the shape of the ArcticCat logo. This looks like a dog treat to me. On our hot tub table, it looks great. When you V-carve something, it essentially goes down the center of your pattern on this router. Like I said, it works a little bit differently than actual, like the CNC that I've been doing. You actually have to give it like a start depth, and then like a finish depth. So it'll go in, do its initial cut, and then it'll go to a different depth. Like normal CNC machining, you tell it to go 100 thou, it goes 100 thou deep, no matter what. Wherever you set your tool at, it's going 100 thou deep into the material. This doesn't, to me, seem to do that. So what I've kind of learned to do is I kind of lie to my machine. This had 0 offset, so it's V-carbon from the very center of that letter and making this kind of shape, which I'm not a huge fan of. So what I do is I lie to my machine. I tell it it's got an 1/8 inch bit in it, and then I put a 0 offset in it. And what it does, it traces the outside of the letters. It puts the center of the end mill right down there. So in the simulation, when you look at it, it's wrong. But you got to just keep in mind in your head that the center of that, essentially I'm still using my V-carve bit that made this to do this. So it's still kind of got that 90-degree angle on this side and this side. But what it does, it runs the center of that point right around the outside of the letters. And now we're starting to get it to where it looks a little bit more like the ArcticCat logo. So this one I started at, I can't remember. I know my finish depth was 50. This one's 40. No, sorry. This one's 60. This one's 40. The only problem I have with it, it's hard to see, but the center of that A, it chipped out a little bit. I'm not sure what that's going to do in the Plexi. But here's the thing is, when you look at the 40 thou depth, it did the same thing. I think this is what I'm going to go with. This is 60 deep. So 0.060. And I think it's really going to backlight that really good. It actually looks relatively similar to the actual ArcticCat logo, but it's just text. So I think I'm going to go with this one. Like I said, I've been testing. I just think this one looks really cool. It should be awesome when it backlights, because all these are like, you know, it's cut with that V-carve bit. So they're all kind of like, it's a 90-degree corner coming in there. So both sides are angled like that. It should really pick up this LED and really make this logo glow next to the seat. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to flip this board over now that I've tested on it. This is the exact size of this smaller piece of Plexi, which all I need out of this is the top part of the box. So I'm going to flip this over now that I got what I like. Like, this is all just scrap. I'm just testing this in the wood just to make sure, because I don't want to mess up the Plexi. So we're going to go with that. I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to cut this out and the top, and we're going to put it on the top of the box over there, which you've obviously seen I have assembled. Then I'll get back to you guys and show you what it looks like, and how it kind of fits in that side-by-side. And then I'll contact my buddy and kind of run through the problems that I'm having, whether he's okay with it or not. Because like the box is a little small for the cubes that it needs for that sub to work. It's not a bunch smaller, but it may be enough where it bugs him, and then I'll have to figure something else out. But I think this is where we're going to go with that one right there. So we'll get this cut out. I'm going to flip this over. I'm trying to cook dinner for my wife because it's her birthday, and trying to do this at the same time. Yeah. Like always, busy freaking days for me. Last night I had to go in the house. Like I said, it was my wife's birthday. Went in, I cooked her some steak and fish, and we had a good old dinner and stayed up way too late playing games with her oldest son and our 2 kids. So, and my oldest son's girlfriend. It was a good time. So it's like, I don't know, like noon today. I slept in, I'm not gonna lie. First time I've slept past 5 hours in, I don't know, a year or something. So I did get this box put together, just a wood one. You can see I got the ArcticCat logo in here. It's just gonna be just outside this seat, so when the light comes on, this should glow. It is tight, like I said, it fits in there really snug. There's just a little bit of gap under here. It's gonna mount right to the bottom of the seat. It's gonna be pretty cool. But that's in there. So today I'm gonna I got all the programs written. I've test fit this, it seems to fit. So we're gonna cut this out of Plexi today. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully it goes great. I've never cut Plexi before on my router, so I've cut other plastics, that HDPE stuff, but it's a little bit different. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it goes really good, and I have this thing buttoned up today and on to my next one. I got a Ford Bronco coming up today. Another guy we race with, he needs some new shock mounts. He got like some aftermarket shocks that he wants mounted on his tough truck. So I think he said he's gonna bring some metal. If not, I'm gonna have to order some. Yeah, we'll see what he's got. I'm not 100% sure what he's got going on, but as you can see, it's a little cold in the shop again this morning. I got my fire, I just barely got my fire going. Wanted to make sure this fits so I could get it cutting hopefully before he gets here, so I can kind of talk to him while I'm still making money. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. As I get this thing cut, after I probably cut I might show you guys cutting the Plexi, see how it goes, and then I'll show you all the pieces, how I'm going to put them together. I'm going to use some quarter 20 screws. They're a Phillips screw. I'm not a fan of Phillips screws, but it's all I could really find in this size. So they do have a chamfer on, so we'll chamfer all the holes, drill and tap everything. And then I got this stuff for campers. Where did I put it? Oh, it's up in the loft. It's like a putty for sealing up like where your AC goes onto the top of your camper and stuff. I'm gonna put that in between the Plexi, so when I screw it down, it makes that seal, so this thing is totally sealed. Should work pretty good. I've done it before on a speaker box that I had like in high school. The whole front of it was Plexi, and I put this around it, and it sealed up really good. So that's what we're gonna do. I'll kind of show you that as I go. The tape I bought is like inch wide because they don't make it any smaller. So I'm gonna have to put it on there, then trim it down to 1/2 inch, and then sink my screws in. Yeah, so we'll show you that when I get that far. All right, you guys, this thing's cutting like butter. I was gonna show you what it's doing. So you can see I left a protective coating on it because I try not to scratch the Plexi. It already has a couple dings and stuff in it because he did get it used. But I'm just trying to keep it as nice as possible. I'll leave it on there until it's totally done, and then I'll peel everything off. Pretty cool. I'll show you when it's all done cutting, all the little pieces and how they kind of fit together. All right, you guys, we're on the last cut here. We've got all the pieces. I'll move this out of the way so you can see it, but this is the very last piece on this piece of Plexi. I still got to cut essentially the top on that piece of Plexi. I'll get a better view when this thing's done cutting. All right, you guys, so we got this cut out. As you can see, this is the bottom where the speaker will mount. This is the long side over here. Then these tapered pieces here and here, that'll be the sides. And then this is the short side over here. Then onto the other piece of Plexi, I'm gonna cut, the top up here with the ArcticCat logo in it. So we're gonna do that next. Let me sit you down here for a minute. I'm gonna flip this over so you can see the back side. This actually cut a lot better than I thought it was gonna. As you can see, this paper is the only thing it didn't cut through, so I cut my Z really good. It's just the tape. It's actually cut all the way through. It's just this protective coating on the backside, so my Z was set spot on. It didn't cut into my wasteboard here at all. It just barely cut through to where the tape is the only thing holding it together, which actually probably helped because this is, as you can see, it's kind of maybe a little flexy now that I've cut through it. I do got all these little tabs that I told you guys about before that I leave. I'll have to cut these and then flush cut them with my flush cut router. Normally you guys see me cut them with tin snips. Since this is plexi, I'm going to use my grinder, my cutoff wheel to cut these. Just so I'm melting through instead of like trying to actually cut them and snap the plastic, because I'm afraid this might chip. It hasn't yet. It seems to be a little, I guess, more gummy, you would call it. It's not as like hard as like some cheaper plexis. So it must be some kind of, I don't know, maybe it's acrylic or something. I'm not sure 100% what it is, but it's definitely kind of see-through plastic. So we'll get that. I'll get these knocked out with my grinder, and then I'll get them all flush cut, and I'll kind of show you guys what this is going to look like. Like I said, I am leaving this on until I am ready to totally put this in the side-by-side, because I don't want to scratch his plexi any more than he already has, because you can see some of the protective coatings off here, here. So when I pull this off, there's going to be scratches on this. Just kind of the nature of the beast when it comes to this. Yeah.
Polycarbonate.
Polycarbonate is what it is. My son just looked at apparently on the back of it, and I just didn't read it. But yeah, so that's what we're going to get done. Then I'm going to probably kind of set these pieces together and drill and tap some holes. I'm going to practice in a piece of this scrap drilling, because I'm going to have to drill this way and tap it. I just hope it doesn't go boom and explode. I think it'll be all right. The way it cut with the end mill, it seemed to be good enough to where it should tap. So we'll give it a shot here in a piece of scrap, and then start bolting this box together and get it back to the customer hopefully today. Hopefully. We're back at this box. I forgot to record a little bit. When I assembled this thing, I was kind of in a hurry. I was just trying to get it done. I'm trying to keep the hours down for this guy because he is my buddy. It's still going to be a little pricey. But I did contact another guy that kind of does a lot of this in his past. Asked him what he would charge for it, and I'm right there. So I don't feel super bad about it, but I just wish it was a little cheaper for him. I'll kind of show you what I got here. So I pulled all the protective coating off the inside of this. I left it on the outside just so I didn't scratch it. I'm trying to keep it from getting scratched. It is a little scratched, but I pulled all the stuff off the inside. I did tap all the holes. This thing is bolted together. I just use these. They're a cord 20, and then they just got a chamfered head on them. So I chamfered all the holes where they go in so they're flush to the top. Now I'm going to put this seal in it, and we're going to see what happens. I'm a little afraid it's going to be a little too thick. We'll see if the bolts grab the threads. This is just plexi, so the threads are pretty fragile. That's why I'm using the tape. Hopefully it'll seal this box all the way without ripping out a bunch of threads out of this thing. It's like the one thing I was really scared to do with this thing. So I'll get all my tape on here. Every joint is going to have this tape, so we'll see what happens. I might have to find something else. It looks a little thick now that I got it on this piece on. I don't know. I'm hoping it'll smash down a little. All right, everybody, we're back. So I had to revamp what I was doing. So I told you guys I was going to use this stuff. It's like for putting AC units in like campers and sealing up windows in campers. I did put it in there. It sealed up very well. The one problem with it was, as I tightened the screws down on the plexi, it would push out the sides. I'd let it sit for a little bit. I'd come back, trim it. Let it sit for a little bit, come back, and it was pushing out. It just kept pushing out, pushing out. I didn't like it. It looked okay. I just wasn't a super big fan of it. So what I got is this stuff. It's 3M. It's molding tape. They use this. I don't know if you've ever seen like the little window, the rain window vents that you have on the side of your car. That's what this stuff is. It's 1/2 inch. I tried it. It worked really good. I looked everywhere in Helena for this. I went to every store on my lunch break, like 6 different stores. I found it, but it's 1 inch. It's a lot thicker, so it does work. It's the same stuff. It's just thicker. The problem is with it is they say it's 1 inch, but when you cut it off down the middle, when you put it on the box, it's not exactly 1 inch. So I have a whole bunch of like extra stuff that's not exactly 1/2 inch. A little bit of waste, but it's what I could find here locally. But I did get it done. The one thing I did do, as I was screwing these screws in through the seal, it wanted to wind up, like if you're trying to drill through carpet, it wants to wind up in the drill bit. So what I did, I'll use this as an example. So you can see there's a hole there. I put this wood behind it. Imagine if this was stuck to my plexi or my polycarbonate. I'd put that against this wood and then I'd drill through it because I had a clearance hole on this side that was for a core 20 bolt. I drilled through it and it would keep this from winding up because this backing was still on it, but it had something to push against. So when I drilled in it, it didn't wind up in the drill. It just punched a perfect hole. You can see that was one of my test pieces and it punched perfect holes in it. That one did. You can see that's where I didn't have it on the wood and it just tore. So if you're gonna try to drill through this stuff, put it on your biggest piece, so essentially this, put it on the back of that, and then use your clearance hole to drill through. It worked way better. Once I got that technique figured out, this thing like went right together. The only other thing I will tell you about this polycarbonate, like it drills and taps easy. Like I did it just like I do on my hot tub tables. I put my tap in my drill and just ran it through. I drilled my tap drill size, which in this case for these holes, it was a number 25 drill, and I did, these are, what are they, 1024s. And literally I set the speaker on here, I marked it, and then I drilled my holes and just power tapped it with my drill. Just go slow, you don't want to like that because it will suck it right in. Just go real slow and it'll power tap right through real easy. I thought this stuff was going to be a lot more brittle. It's been way more forgiving than I thought it was going to be. But I did get all the seals in, everything's sealed up. I think I'll drop it in this side by side so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. Let me flip it over so you can see the back side too. So I carved the ArcticCat logo in the back side. The only thing that I wish, after seeing this now, I wish I would have made this just a little smaller, because you can see my seals are black. I wanted to find them in a white color so that it would glow through. They don't make it. Not in this stuff. They make it in like some foam stuff, but this is... All right, my camera guy screwed up big time. It's my son recording me right now. I finally got a camera guy.
Hi guys.
Doing?
Sorry.
Kind of lost my train of thought, but I did want to do this seal in white so it would glow through. They don't make it in this. It's this is more of a rubber material because it does got to shed water when you put on like visors. Oh, flip around, show them the visor on my black Jeep there. See that visor over the window? It's the same stuff they use to put that on. It's a molding tape is what they call it. It mounts those to the side of your car. So it does shed water. This box is totally sealed now. The white stuff that they have out there that's made by 3M, it's more of a foam. I think the water would go through it. And since this is gonna sit in that side-by-side like this underneath there, facing down, it needs to be able to shed water. This is a marine grade speaker, so it will handle the water. The amount of water it's gonna see is probably pretty minimal unless he submerges this thing, which I don't think he's going to be doing that. And if he does, he knows he's going to have to replace the speaker. But we'll kind of walk over there. You can see that this is going to light up really cool. He's going to put a red LED in here. He's got like a rigid LED that he's going to put in here. The other thing I did do, so he can mount this to the bottom of the seat because he's going to do that part. He's going to have to pull this face off. So this seal around this top, I left the backing on it so he can unscrew this and pull the whole speaker and the lid off. Mount it to the bottom of the seat, pull that tape that keeps the sticky from sticking, and stick this on here and screw it back together. Then it'll be mounted to his seat permanently. Why you give me the funny look?
It's called adhesive, Dad.
Yeah, that one. All right, so you might want to come on this side of me so you can see. Now that it's done, so I got a piece of like, I don't know, it's like 1.25 inches. It's pretty close to what the same size of this roll cage is on this Wildcat. just down there to support it because there's nothing on the other side. This will be mounted to the bottom of the seat. Oh boy, I'm scared to do this. This thing is a little heavy, I'm not gonna lie. It's 1/2 inch polycarbonate, so it's heavy. I'm trying not to whack his speaker on anything so you guys can kind of see where this is gonna sit. That's my finger and my wedding ring. All right, you guys, so I set the box down in there. I do have a support. It's just like a solid, it's like hot rolled steel on that side. Maybe I'll get a light. Oh, maybe the flashlight. Nope, I don't have a flashlight. I'll get my other light. I'll get my lighting guy. My lighting guy's coming. Oops. All right. So again, high bay lights, giving me some shadows. You can see that's where that thing's gonna sit. I got paper underneath there. I'm just trying to protect his speaker. I'm trying to keep this thing as nice as possible till he gets it, and then if he wants to scratch it up, that's on him. But the speaker, you can see the speaker box sits right there. It is really tight on the seat. You can see the ArcticCat logos right there. It should look pretty cool once he puts the red LEDs in it and lights that thing from the back. I'll put the seat in here so you guys can kind of see what it's going to look like. Most of this you won't see. What you're going to get is really the underglow at night, and that ArcticCat logo just really, ArcticCat text, not their logo, just the text of the ArcticCat popping through there. So I'll throw this seat in here. It is a little tight getting this seat in here, I'm not going to lie. This roll cage is pretty tight to it, especially when I'm trying not to scratch this perfect box. And I'm really scared of scratching the box because I want it to look awesome when he gets here. And his other speaker's in the way. All right. So it's in there. So now you can see that ArcticCat logo is just going to kind of pop right here. When he lights this thing, there's just enough room. I kind of measured it out. I tried to center it in this gap right here. So if you were looking in, essentially from here, from the front of it down, you could see that ArcticCat popping. It's going to be pretty cool. We'll see if we make these like a production thing. I did leave him a little bit of clearance. This door's in my way too. Sorry. He's going to mount this to the bottom of the seat. There's just a little bit of wiggle room in this box. You can see it's actually sitting on this roll cage down here. It's actually going to mount to the bottom of the seat. So this is going to come out as one unit. We'll see how that goes. It's tight. It's really tight. If he can pull this seat out with that speaker box mounted to there, we'll see. The only other thing that I kind of noticed about it is, I don't know, he's not worried about it. But I was afraid of the mechanism for adjusting the seat back and forth. If it was going to hit the box, but I don't 100% know how it works. I didn't move it because it's his. I just left it. But it looks like it's going to clear. So even if with this speaker box in there, if you have this, you want one, it should be able to be adjustable for different people. Because I don't see any mechanism that it's going to hit. Yeah, no, it's totally going to clear. So even with the speaker box in there, if someone else is driving this, he'll still be able to move his seat, which is awesome. The only other thing it might be is he's going to put rib nuts in the bottom of this seat because it's just like 1-inch square tube. He's going to put rib nuts in there because he works at our local cycle shop. He's going to rib nut it, drill this box, and mount this box to the bottom of the seat. Yeah, I think it's going to work out really good. Man, it's cool. And what's cool is, like, you look at it, you can't even see it's down there. It's just, yeah, it's totally see-through. But at night, that thing's going to glow. He's going to have this underglow underneath of him. It should match. He's got rock lights under this thing. So he's got, like, red rock lights under here, underneath all the fenders. So it'll be that same color inside that box. I don't know how to use a stereo. I don't know how his stereo works, but because it's all treble, he wanted a little bit of bass, and that's kind of why we built this box for him. So should be pretty cool.